Hello, you absolute legends. This is going to be one of those very vulnerable videos that I do where I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to open up. This might be maybe the most vulnerable video that I ever record. I guess we'll see in a second, won't we? I'm going to talk about some of the challenges or what it is like to be a coach, to be here for all of you, to be here for you, the audience, for my coaching clients, and maybe some of the parts that are a little bit of a challenge, what it is like to be me. And the first very unique challenge is that you can't save everyone. As a coach, you want to help people. As the guy making YouTube videos and putting out content that is supposed to help people and help people with their dating life, with their business, with their happiness, with their mental health, there is an interesting thing that you accept at some point after years of trying to help everybody. You realize that you can't help everybody. Some people are not ready to listen. Some people are getting something out of their pain. It sounds like a funny thing to say, but a lot of pain and suffering gives us something. We get to be the victim. We get to struggle. We get to feel sorry for ourselves. We get to avoid rejection and avoid having to try. And at some point, I realized not everybody wants to be happy, at least not right now. And that was very painful for me at first, as someone that genuinely cares about all of you. And I want you to be happy if you want to be happy. But it was a bit of a challenge to accept. Some of you aren't ready to change yet, or you might want to be happy. And then when I say, okay, this is what is required of you to start being happy, some of you are just not ready to take those steps yet. Maybe you will be in the future. Maybe you never will be. Some people just want to be unhappy. And that was a challenge for me. That was really, really difficult. It was sort of learning to sit on the sidelines and realize that my job is not to save everybody, and not that everybody needs saving anyway. I'll talk about that in a second. But I essentially learned through this process of this YouTube channel and my coaching and all of that, I learned unconditional love, to literally love people, love you guys without attachment, kind of like a parent would. And to sit there and watch some of you suffer and know that maybe I can't do anything about that as much as I would like to, or know that even if I pour my heart and soul into trying to help you, some of you just don't want the help. Some of you just don't give a fuck what it is that I might have to say or what anyone else might have to say in their quest to try and help you. Some of you just don't want to hear it. Some of you are in the stage of being the victim, or you have an identity such as I'm a virgin, or I'm ugly, or I'm too short, or I'm too old, or it's too late for me, or women suck. And you're so stuck on that identity that nothing I say will resonate. In fact, you'll just hate me more the more I try and help you, because deep down you don't want help. And that was a difficult thing for me as someone that genuinely cares to accept. It was a real head fuck to slowly start to learn and understand human psychology that not everyone wants to be happy. Not everyone wants to have a dating life that they're happy with. Not everyone wants to love their partner. Not everyone wants to be peaceful and joyful. Not everyone wants to feel love. Not everyone wants to feel like they're worthy. They say that they want these things. But then when you give them the tiny little baby steps to start that process, when you say, okay, you can do this, here is how you begin. Some people just decide that the juice isn't worth the squeeze and they would rather be unhappy. They would rather be comfortably uncomfortable. There is a sort of comfort that comes from being uncomfortable. There is a comfort that comes from being the victim. There is a comfort from being the guy or the girl that just isn't happy. There is a weird pleasure to it. It's almost like a sadomasochism thing. It's almost like you become a masochist who likes to hate your life and complain about it. And we all kind of know people like that, don't we? We've all met the person who just perpetually bitches and moans and complains about everything. And when I first got into this YouTube channel and my blog and coaching, I genuinely thought, no, everyone wants to be happy. Everyone is capable of achieving goals. Everyone is capable of joy and love and peace. And maybe they're capable, but not everyone wants it. And something else that took me a little while to realize is it was my ego talking when I said I want to save everybody, as if everybody needs saving. No, everybody is exactly who they are in that moment. And in that moment, some people are just on their own journey. They don't need saving. Maybe they want to be deeply unhappy. And me coming along going, I can save you, I can change you. It reeks of this almost like pious arrogance to think that I know what is best for everybody. Again, everybody is on their own journey. Those that want advice and want to improve something or want to achieve a goal, they will seek out that advice. They will come and they will ask questions and they would do it. But for me to get in there and say, okay, I know what's best for everyone. You all need to follow this goal pathway. You all need to achieve these goals. You all need to do this. No, everybody is on their own journey. Everybody is exactly where they are right now for a lot of reasons. And it is not up to me to tell anyone how to live their life. And that was quite a challenge for me to step back and say, you know what? Everyone is doing the best they can in every moment. Everyone is exactly where they need to be in that moment. They are there for reasons, for a reason or multiple reasons. It's not up to me to control their life. If people want my help, I will give it freely, wholeheartedly, for free, and my paid coaching as well. I will pour everything I have to giving it to people to help them. But if they don't ask for it, or if they don't want it, or if they say they want it, but they don't take any action when I give them baby step after baby step after baby step, then I will take a step back and I will, with love in my heart and no judgment, say, maybe this person doesn't want this as badly as they're saying they do. Maybe in the future they will. And I'm not giving up on them. It's not about that. But right now, they might not be ready to do what is required in order to get the things they want. And that is okay. But it took me quite a lot of time, years, and quite a lot of letting go and working on this directly to be able to let that go and accept people for who they are right now and where they are currently at in their journey. And this is the part that's probably going to be the most vulnerable or the most real for me in this entire video. As a coach, I feel your pain. As the guy on YouTube, I feel your pain. And maybe you've heard me say that in videos. Maybe it just sounds like a nice thing that I say, wow, Andy seems to care about us. Isn't that beautiful? No, I really mean I feel your pain. Before I even sat down to record this video, and just now I took a little break for 5 minutes, and I mean, I'll be fucking real with you guys. I walked around my apartment and I just cried for the last 5 minutes. I've just spent the last 5 minutes crying. And this is a pretty common thing. It's something that I'm just very used to as a coach. It's not a bad thing. It's just part of what this is. When you guys leave comments and you say, I'm struggling, Andy, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, I'm a virgin, and I don't know if anyone will ever give me a chance. I was bullied in high school and I've never been able to get over it. Or, I struggle in business and I just don't know if I'm ever going to make it and I really feel like quitting. I feel that. And I don't just sit there for a minute and go, oh, yeah, I understand how you feel. No, I really understand how you feel. Like I said, I just spent the last couple of minutes crying because people in my coaching group, share stuff with me and obviously open up way more than, you guys might do in YouTube comments. But even in comments, you guys really open up. I get emails from people in DMs, on my Instagram and my Twitter, from you guys and girls that are really fucking suffering. And I have spent a lot of time over the last couple of years really thinking deep about the depths of human suffering and what it means to be human, what it means to doubt yourself, to think that you're not going to make it, to think that you're not good enough. What does it feel like to be born without consent? None of you asked to be born, neither did I. To have this suffering, not that it's all suffering, but when you are suffering, to have this suffering thrust upon you non-consensually. You guys that are struggling with your dating, you did not ask to struggle with that. You women that are struggling with your self-esteem or your self-love, you didn't ask to be insecure. Those of you who are working on building a business or just trying to keep your head above water, you didn't ask to struggle. Those of you that feel unworthy or unloved, you did not fucking ask for that. You didn't even ask to be born. You definitely did not ask for suffering. You didn't say, hey, universe, please pile on a giant fucking heaping serve of suffering onto me. And if we look through human history, through all the wars, through all the doubts, through every society that was built up and then fell down, through all of that, there are a couple of common threads. Maybe you could say there are two common threads, or two very obviously common threads. Number one is suffering. Human beings, I guess maybe you could say all life forms, just seem to suffer. And there doesn't seem to be an end to that. And I feel that. I feel that every time one of you leaves a comment. I feel that every time one of you emails me. I feel that every time one of you is full of doubt or insecurity. That's why I try my best not to just gloss over it and say, you're being a pussy, bro. Just go out there and talk to girls. No, I get it. You're suffering. Believe me when I say I feel that. The second common thread throughout human history seems to be love. Love shows up in many different forms, brotherly love, romantic love, kindness, compassion, helping each other, parents raising children, society building itself up and trying to be there for each other. All of that is just forms or expressions of love. And those seem to be the two common threads, suffering and love. They're probably the two common threads in this YouTube channel. I talk about suffering a lot, don't I? Every time you guys are suffering, I try to be there for you. And I talk about love and joy and positivity as well. But I really, really, really feel your suffering. And there have been times I felt myself almost drowning in that suffering, in the suffering that you guys collectively feel, that the human race feels collectively as a species, especially if we look back in wars, and there's wars going on right now. There are people on this planet right now who are 5 seconds away from death. Every time I fucking snap my fingers, someone just died. I can't remember how often it is, but it's something like every 5 seconds or something, someone fucking dies. And that's an entire family that's just like gone, or an entire family that's sitting there fucking suffering. There's another one. And that's a bunch of people that are sitting around going, I miss this person. Oh my God, I'm never going to see that person again. I'm never going to get to hear their laughter. I'm never ever going to get to see them smile. I'm never going to get to hold them or kiss them or tell them how much they meant to me. Being alive is suffering. There's also so much beauty in being alive. There's so much love and joy and kindness, and I choose to focus on that. But please don't think that I don't understand how much you guys are suffering. Why do you guys think I have this fucking channel in the first place? Why do you guys think I do videos that aren't particularly new or that I have anything new to say, but I do them over and over again? Like, if you're short, I'm here for you. If you feel like you're ugly, I'm here for you. I've done that content fucking 1,000 times. There's nothing more new that I have to say on it, but I keep repeating that content because I know that that is the stuff you guys are suffering with the most. And when you're suffering, you just want to know that someone gives a shit. It's not the most interesting content for me to do. I'd rather do content about happiness and enlightenment and Buddhism and spirituality and stuff like that. That's the stuff I care about. But the stuff that you guys are suffering with the most is the content that I usually do on this channel, because I can see you guys are hurting, and lots of you women, you're hurting as well. I can see all of you suffering. And so this is maybe the biggest challenge of doing this YouTube channel, of being a coach, is that I feel your fucking pain. But there's beauty in that. By feeling your pain, I can be there for you. I can honestly, genuinely say, I get it, and mean that. I can say I understand, because I've been through it all myself. I'm a human being just like you, and God knows I have suffered just like you have. I was depressed and suicidal. I've talked about that a million times. I went to prison when I was 19. I was in a couple of abusive relationships. I really didn't think that I was allowed to be happy. And when I was 28, I thought that my life was over and I was never going to be able to build anything even remotely close to happiness. I've felt everything or a lot of what you guys are feeling. Maybe not the exact same circumstances, but the same genre of suffering. I get it. I think something else that is a really beautiful, but also strange, but also crazy thing to think about is that for the most part, most of my days are spent walking around with a giant smile on my face. Maybe not right now in this moment in this video because I'm being pretty vulnerable with all of you. But most of my day is spent just walking around with a smile on my face. Sometimes literally tears coming out of the corner of my eyes because I feel so much joy. Because I can't believe that I used to be depressed and suicidal and now I get to be alive and happy. There are times I look up in the sky and I'm like, thank you, universe or God or whatever the fuck is up there, or maybe nothing's up there. I don't know. But thank you anyway. I'm glad that this is my life. And then I think about a lot of you that are not at that point, where you think that no woman will ever like you, or no man will ever treat you with dignity, or no boss will ever respect you, or no friends will ever be nice to you. You think you're unworthy and unlovable. You think you're not good enough. You have, I'll try and say this gently, but you have unkind self-talk. You're unkind to yourself the way you talk about yourself. And you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't know that it's possible to be happy, to change. Just like I didn't know that stuff when I was depressed and suicidal. And there is this strange feeling, or it is a strange position for me to be in, to be walking around with so much joy and happiness when so many of you and so many people in general are suffering. There's almost a strange sense of guilt to it, or a sense of like, I didn't earn this. Why was this happiness given to me? Why me? Why do I get to walk around being happy when so many people are not? And there is a sense of obligation there that I, in my head, know what makes me happy. And for the most part, probably know what makes you happy. And if you just had the same information that I have in my head, if I could transplant what's in my head, like the tools, the ways of viewing the world, the positive mindset, if I could just take this and put it in your head, you would probably be happy too. And the reason that you're suffering is because you don't understand, because you're missing information. The Buddhists say all suffering is ignorance, as in there's just things you're ignorant of, or there's things you just don't know yet. There's just some knowledge that you don't have yet. If you had that knowledge, you wouldn't suffer. If you understood, you wouldn't suffer. And so there's a strange sense of obligation of like, before I die, I want to get as much information that's in this brain out into the world to all of you. Some of it will help you, some of it won't. You can discard the stuff that isn't relevant to you, that's fine. But I want to get as much of this out into the world as I can before I die. And there's a strange feeling there, knowing that the reason you're suffering is because there's something I know and other people know. There's something that other people who are not suffering, they know. You just don't know that yet. And if I could get that into your head, you wouldn't suffer anymore. And there's almost this sense of like wanting to rush that process. That's why I've done stuff like, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. The Play to Win video course was literally my attempt. I'm pretty sure I even wrote this in here somewhere. Yeah, this was essentially a culmination of everything I've learned over the last like 10 years of my self-improvement. This is, look, everything in my head put into a video course and ebook. I literally wrote this, or made the video course. I literally made this trying to get all the information that was in my head out into a course. And if you look at the chapters that are in this, literally all of these chapters are all the mindsets, or the main mindsets that have helped me more than anything else when it comes to not suffering. This was my fucking attempt to get as much of it out there as I possibly could. And that's what my YouTube channel is. Like an attempt to literally teach you guys as much as I possibly can, and not hoard all of this information myself and be like, yeah, I have all the answers. I know all this shit and that's why I'm happy. And you guys can just go fuck yourselves. No, I want you to have all the information that's in my head. I want to get it out. And it is sometimes a challenge knowing that you could help so many people if they just had the information that's locked away in here. And I guess it's not locked away. I try and put it out there as much as I can. You know, the video course is like $30. And I've said this a million times. If any of you cannot afford the Play to Win video course, send me an email. I will send you the fucking course for free. I do not want you to not have this information. Most of it's on my YouTube channel, or all of it's on my YouTube channel anyway. But it's a real challenge, or it's a strange challenge to know that the information is just in here. And if you could just transmit it into other people's brains, if they could just see the world through the positive lens that you do, or if they had the tools to overcome any problem, if they knew how to start searching for solutions and how to take baby steps and how to have a plan of action and how to make sure that they're productive every day and how to be on task and how to have accountability and all of that stuff, if they knew the process for setting and achieving goals, there would be no stopping them. And knowing that everyone on the planet is capable of achieving or setting and achieving goals, but that they just don't know how. They suffer because they don't understand. That is a monumentally wild burden to have on your psyche. And at some point, you accept with humility, it's not my job to save the entire fucking planet. The planet doesn't need my saving. I don't have to be so egotistical about it and be like, I'm going to save everyone with the information in my head. No, but to know that a lot of people are suffering, and if they just understood the things or some of the things that you understand, they wouldn't suffer anymore. That is quite a burden to hold in the heart, to know that people are suffering and you could potentially help them, but you haven't helped them yet. That is a burden. That is a beautiful burden. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the knowledge and the ability to help the people that want it. But to know that you could help a lot of people and they're suffering because they don't understand, that definitely, I will be honest, sometimes weighs pretty heavy on my heart. That's why I sometimes weep for you. And not in a pity way, absolutely not like that, but just feeling what you're feeling and knowing how that feels because I felt similar myself. That's heavy sometimes. Another unique challenge, and something that's actually quite beautiful and bittersweet and probably very relevant to being a parent as well, is that you guys, probably all of you, will eventually outgrow me. And that is the point. Literally the point of my coaching, of this YouTube channel, of my blog, of me trying to help all of you. I pour my heart and soul into you so that one day you won't need me anymore. How relevant is that to being a parent? That is the goal. I want you at some point to be your own independent, free men and women. I am literally trying to teach you not what to think, but how to think. I am trying through things like my Play to Win video course and just this YouTube channel in general. I'm trying to teach you tools and techniques of how to think for yourself, how to figure out what you want and then make that happen. And that by definition means at some point, just like a parent, my job is to make myself obsolete. If I've done my job well as a YouTuber, as a self-improvement coach, as a dating coach, as whatever you want to call me, if I've done my job well, at some point you and I say goodbye. Maybe you check in once every couple of years. Maybe you send me a nice email every year or two or every 5 years and tell me that you wish me well and hope I'm doing well. But at some point you turn your back and you don't look back anymore and carry on with your life. And that is my goal, to love you enough that I can let you go. Not that I could ever really cling on to you anyway. But this has happened with quite a lot of my coaching clients. Probably the most relevant example, or the most bittersweet but beautiful example, is one of my longtime coaching clients, one of my old friends, I guess I would say at this point, Ed. And when Ed first came to me for coaching, he was one of my first coaching clients. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. Literally one of the first people that I helped. He was a virgin. He was 31 years old. He'd never had sex with a woman. He had severe erectile dysfunction, and God knows he had mountains of self-doubt and low self-esteem when it comes to that. And we just started working together. I started listening to him. I started helping him. I helped him work through it. He eventually had sex, and he was over the moon when that happened. He went on to have sex with something fucking crazy, like 200 women or something. Had all this amazing, self-improvement journey, started going to the gym, got abs, got an elite body, dressed amazingly, became a photographer, started doing all of this crazy stuff, and eventually got to a point where now he's starting to think about, or he's going down the process of like, who do I want to marry? What kind of wife would I like? What kind of kids would I want? How do I want to raise them? Where do I want to live? He's at that stage of his life. He's still having a little bit of sex and all of that, but he's starting to move towards, how do I settle down? And at some point recently, I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago, He sent me this email basically saying, Andy, I love you to bits. I am so grateful for everything you've done. I think I'm going to stop participating in your coaching program, because we'd basically made him an honorary member of the coaching program. He could basically be in there for free. And he was like, I think I'm going to move away. I think I'm going to go and see some other coaches who can help me with other areas of my life. I'm going to try some different things. I think it's time for me to move on. And I recorded him a long voice message. I think it was like 30 minutes long, basically saying, I am so grateful for you, my friend. And I'm so happy for you. I wanted you to eventually move on. That was the point. I really appreciate all the time that we've gotten to spend together. I'm so grateful for how vulnerable you were with me, and how brave you were, and how courageous you were, and the fact that you trusted me to help you. The fact that you shared your struggles and let me be there for you. Thank you, my friend. I'm so grateful. And we left on beautiful terms, and we've caught up like once in that time, where we've sent each other an email and said, what are you working on? Here's what I'm working on. And maybe we will again in the future. I'm probably going to meet him at some point, I'm sure. If I travel to America, he would be one of the first people that I hit up, to grab a coffee or a drink. But the point is that we have essentially gone separate pathways. And that is the goal with all of my coaching clients. I tell that to half of them when they first sign up. I say, the goal here is for you not to need me anymore. It's a terrible business strategy, but I'm not here just for business. It's a great life strategy to show you, or to teach you, how to think for yourself. There's that beautiful saying, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. And that is the goal here. But that does come with a little bit of bittersweetness when you all eventually, or most of you, maybe all of you, eventually move on. Another one that is maybe just some pressure that I've put on myself and isn't always necessarily true. I have often felt like I have to keep growing too. In other words, the pressure of having to, or feeling like I have to, walk the talk. I have sometimes put pressure on myself that I always have to be doing something, achieving something, setting some next milestone that I'm running towards, because after all, I'm the self-improvement coach. I've put pressure on myself sometimes, or sometimes some of you have, not meaning to, but sometimes I have put pressure on myself based on your comments. When you say, hey, Andy, how's your dating life gone? Have you had a threesome recently? Have you slept with any new women recently? How's the business going? Are you making more money? Have you had many coaching signups and all of that? And I have sometimes put pressure on myself to be the leader, to be the guy that's achieving the most. And sometimes I have felt a little bit of jealousy when some of my clients go further than how far I went, or they're achieving more than I am, or they're absolutely just crushing it. And maybe I've had just an average month. I have sometimes felt a little bit of envy. It's something that I have done my best to let go of, but the pressure has been there sometimes. This one is one that I'm actually pretty grateful for, though. I like that pressure. I genuinely do. And so I wouldn't say it's as much of a big challenge as just something that comes with coaching or running a YouTube channel. Is you do feel sometimes the pressure to have your shit together, the pressure to be impressive, the pressure, or maybe the responsibility, to kick some ass, ideally all the time, but at least most of the time. I have balanced that by being pretty honest with you guys. I tell you when I'm struggling. I mean, this video is me just being really honest and vulnerable with all of you. I tell you when I feel a bit needy, or I feel needy for your validation, or I feel like I really want you guys to tell me that I'm doing a good job. I want you guys to think of me as smart and wise and a good coach and a guru and all of that. I just tell you guys that when I'm feeling that pressure. And that takes a lot of the pressure off. But again, I'm actually pretty grateful for this one. I like that pressure. I like trying to impress you guys because it inspires you. Maybe that's what it is. It's not even me trying to impress you. It's me trying to inspire you. And I'm very, very willing to take on some of that pressure and bust my ass and work really hard if it helps some of you work really hard and achieve your goals too. It's definitely worth it. Another very fun and interesting challenge of being a coach, or being here to try and help all of you, is being honest with people even when it might hurt. And I haven't always been perfect at balancing this line. Sometimes I've been a little clumsy with my honesty. Sometimes I've been a little bit too blunt. But you only really know that by trying, by experimenting, by trying to be as kind and compassionate as you possibly can, and sometimes getting it wrong. And it's not even wrong, it's all a learning experience. But yes, there have been times when I have been very honest with a client and they were angry about that, or they wanted to quit, or they didn't like what I had to say, or they wish I'd said it in a different way. And over time, like I said, you learn from that. I think I've become a lot more compassionate than I was 5 or 6 years ago. But one of the hardest parts of being a coach is knowing that sometimes something you say, especially for people that are very emotionally invested in the current goal that they're trying to work on, the thing that you say might hurt them, might make them pissed off at you, even if that wasn't your intention. But I've learned that sometimes what people need to hear is the truth. Even if they don't like it in that moment, even if their ego throws a big tantrum and they want to defend and they want to argue and all of that, sometimes the truth is just the truth. And I literally have on my arm a tattoo that says, "Speak truth." And I have done my best to do that on this channel, with women that I date, with my friends, with my family, with all of you, with my coaching clients. Again, I haven't always been perfect. None of you need to be perfect with your honesty either, but I have just found that honesty and the truth is the best way to go through life. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Another very interesting challenge, and pretty similar to the one that I just said, is that people will often project their pain onto you. And if any of you have ever tried to help someone, you've probably experienced this yourself. Sometimes people shoot the messenger. Sometimes people are very unhappy, are very afraid, are very angry, are very insecure. And you, just in your attempts to try and help them, might trigger their ego. You might trigger their defense mechanisms. When people face their demons, they often lash out at the messenger. And I have definitely experienced this in my coaching, in this YouTube channel. Sometimes I will do a video that is just, in my mind, the most innocent, helpful, nice video ever, and it will piss someone off when you absolutely could not have seen that coming. I did a video once where I said, hey, I promise women are actually pretty nice. If you go outside and you hit on them, the vast majority of women that you go out and talk to, especially during the daytime, will be really nice to you. And that was one of my most negative or most downvoted videos, because there are a lot of people that really pissed off. They're very invested in the story that women suck, that women are the enemy, that women are evil, that women never give them a chance. And if I come along and say, hey, you know what? I don't think women are half bad, actually. That's going to piss a lot of people's egos off, isn't it? And so part of this is just being misunderstood, just being misrepresented, and even sometimes completely resented. But you stay grounded in compassion. You understand that that is just that person's defense mechanism speaking, or their anger, or their frustration, or their feelings, or their ego, if you want to call it that. That's what it is. It's not about you, even though in the first couple of years I took all of that very personally. But at some point I realized, look, if I'm going in there and trying to help people, help all of you and my clients and all of that with their genuine pain points, sometimes just like a scared animal, a scared dog, they might lash out at you without meaning to. They genuinely don't mean to. And so my job is not to hurt people, or it's not to take it personally. It's to hold up the mirror to all of you. And even if you don't like the thing that is reflected back at you, I hold that mirror steady. That is my job, or that is what I have taken on. I am here to tell you the truth, to try and do that in the most compassionate, kind way that I possibly can, to call you out when I think it will help you in the nicest, most compassionate way that I can, and then to just hold firm in that. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to. Plenty of people do not like it. But if you come to me for help, or if you're on this channel for help, I am going to tell you the truth. And this one hasn't been the biggest challenge ever. It might on the surface seem like a good thing, and it's definitely a beautiful thing, but it has come with its own challenges. And that is, if you're a coach, or if you genuinely care about people, if you're trying to help people, you do fall in love with humanity. I said before that as we look through human history, we've seen two sort of common threads. One is suffering. People definitely suffer. And the second one is the triumph of the human spirit, or you might call that love. Human beings, to my estimation, in my mind, are inherently pretty fucking lovable. You guys and girls are very easy to love. It doesn't take me a whole lot of it doesn't take me a whole lot of effort. It takes me a whole lot of effort to speak, but it doesn't take me a whole lot of effort to love you guys at all. Like it really doesn't. And coaching has made me, and this YouTube channel has made me more human and more in love with humans. Also a little more vulnerable. But one of the interesting challenges of loving people or falling in love with humanity, at least for me, was admitting that at the start. I am very comfortable now telling you guys that I love you. It's very easy for me. But when I first started saying it, which was maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, it was an incredible struggle. I worried that you would judge me, that you would say I must be gay, as if that would be some terrible thing. I was afraid of what you might think. I was afraid of using the word love. I was like, what if they misunderstand? What if they think that I love them in a romantic sense? But what I mean is I have love for them as my fellow human beings. Like I overthought the hell out of that word, love. And I felt very weird about starting to admit to you guys that I have love for you, that I have compassion. I thought compassion and love made me weak. I thought that admitting that I cared about all of you and care about my coaching clients would make people think that I was a pussy. And so, even though on the surface it seems like a beautiful thing, you fall in love with humanity the more you try and help people, at the start, it was scary for me. There was a lot of vulnerability there. There was a fear of being used. I was worried that if I'm sitting here giving out all of these YouTube videos for free and my blog is free and I will help people for free all the time, I just said before, if you can't afford any of my coaching or any of my video courses or ebooks, like if you can't afford the Play to Win video course, email me and I'll give it to you for free. I was worried that trying to give away all of that stuff would mean that people would take it for granted. And holy fuck, yes, some people do. You guys could not even imagine how much some people will stretch your goodwill. Like, you guys, I think, would be blown away. You'd be shocked if you saw some of the emails that I get from people just wanting a free ride and wanting 12 weeks of free coaching and going like, hey, Andy, can I call you every single day for free, offering nothing in return just because I want it? Can I come to your city and just hang out with you for a month and you can coach me? Can I live with you and you coach me? And you're like, okay, buddy, I respect you asking. Fuck no. So, yes, some people will try and take you for a ride. Some people will not appreciate that you are a person. Some people will not even contemplate that you might have personal boundaries or not want to do something. And in fact, when you say, hey, I'm sorry, bro, I appreciate you asking that, but I'm going to say no. Some people get butthurt and call you the devil or Satan or write some abusive email about how you're a piece of shit and blah, 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 and all of that. I've had people make YouTube videos about me and how I'm such a piece of shit for untold crimes that can't even be stated because they don't have anything except for their own frustration or feelings or whatever. And so, yes, some people do, if you are generous and kind, which I try to be, some people do take that for a ride. But the vast majority of people appreciate it. The vast majority of people will honor your vulnerability and the fact that, yes, you are opening yourself up by trying to be kind, by trying to be compassionate, by trying to fall in love with humanity. I say the same in dating to all of you that are scared to start being honest and vulnerable and open. You're so scared of being used. And yes, some people will try and use you, but you're allowed to just say a polite no to them. You're allowed to spend your time with the people that respect your honesty and your vulnerability and you opening up. Find the people that respect that. And that's obviously just what I've done in this community and with my coaching. But yes, at the start, it was a little bit of a challenge. It was fucking scary for me to admit that I was starting to fall in love with humanity, that I loved all of you guys, that I cared about you. That felt like a very vulnerable thing for me to start admitting. But I'm really glad that I did. Another challenge is that you have to let go of your ego. And this one isn't really so much of a bad challenge. This is a beautiful thing. This is a blessing. But my God, does being a content creator and a coach absolutely teach you some humility. because you'll do a video where you're so convinced that you're correct and that your information is just the best on the internet or whatever. And then someone in the comments will tell you that you're a complete and utter total dumb fuck. And you will read that and be absolutely humbled. Or you will have an email from someone telling you that you should jump off a bridge and kill yourself. Or you will have a coaching client who's a little more polite than that, and they will say, hey, I respect what you're telling me, but I don't want to do that. I don't think you're correct. I don't like that. And you have to let go of your ego. You have to realize that you are not the hero of this story. Your client is. You are not the one who is correct on everything. It depends on what your client wants. And over time, this humility taught me to start asking you guys and girls, what do you want? What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of person do you want to be? Don't just be a clone of Andy. Figure out what your principles are, what your mission is, what your goals are, and then I will help you achieve that. I will facilitate your goals, but I am not here to tell you what goals you should or shouldn't do. And so at some point, I had to learn this wasn't about me. This wasn't about me being a great content creator or a great coach or so smart or the total guru or any of that. This is about my client and their happiness and what they want. In other words, when I was able to stop calling myself a guru or stop trying to be a guru and just instead of trying to be a teacher, start being the student and start learning from all of you and asking you guys questions and asking women questions and not calling myself the expert, that's when I actually, ironically, started to be a better coach, maybe a little bit better of a human being. And so letting go of that ego was quite a struggle because I felt very insecure admitting that I didn't know things. I'm comfortable telling you guys now, there's lots of stuff that I'm not the expert on, that I'm not great at. I'm like okay at it, but I'm not the expert. I can tell you other content creators or coaches that I would recommend instead. I'm very comfortable now telling you guys the things that I'm not that great at. But at the start of this channel, that was a real challenge for me. That was really difficult because it is humbling to admit that you're not the smartest person on the planet. You're not the coolest. You don't have the biggest dick. You're not the fastest. You're not the smartest. You're not the best, probably at anything. Almost none of us listening right now are the best at absolutely, let's just say, not a single person on the planet is the best at everything. And so humility is part of life. It's just something that most of our egos fight, and mine certainly did and still does to some extent. And so this process or this challenge of letting go of my ego has been maybe the most challenging part of all, but also I would say the most rewarding by far. Humility is a cheat code. I say it to you guys and girls all the time. If you can just be more humble, then you will actually shut the fuck up for half a second to learn something. You will do so much better in dating if you can humble yourself. You will be a better business owner. You'll be a better friend, a family member. You will be better at everything if you can just give yourself permission to suck, which is why I say that all the time, and stop trying to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, we don't even focus on perfection here. We focus on progress, not perfection. And I will finish up by saying the rewards make all of this absolutely worth it. I hope it's very clear that this video was not me complaining about what it's like to be a coach. This is like the most incredible blessing ever. I cannot believe that I get to sit down and just try and help all of you. I said before, I spend most of my days happy, grateful, crying tears of joy that this is my life. And then desperately, maybe desperate's not the right word, but like urgently trying to share as much as I possibly can with all of you before I die. I would like to leave a positive impact on humanity. I would like to know that I was able to help as many people as I possibly could. And that makes this worth it. The struggles, the challenges, the difficulties, the massive letting of the ego. God knows I had my ego absolutely humbled. The days of crying when I hear one of your stories and I really fucking feel it. All of that is absolutely worth it to know that maybe, just maybe, I made a little bit of a difference for some of you. That makes this really, really worth it. Again, I cannot overstate how grateful I am that this is my life. I cannot overstate how grateful I am that all of you share your struggles and your stories and what you're going through, and that you trust me with those and trust each other with that. I cannot tell you how much you all inspire me with your courage, your bravery, your honesty, your integrity, your vulnerability. You're all doing such an insanely good job, and it blows my fucking mind every single day how amazing all of you are. And that is the most rewarding part of all of this. If you would like any more help with any of this, I have some links down below for some coaching options. Right now, there's a 50% off deal on my coaching. So if you look down below, the coaching program is 50% off the price that it says. Normally, it's like $11,000. Right now, it's like $6,000. So if you're interested in that, that's an option. I also have one-off coaching course for $200 if you want those. All that stuff is down below. But I am really, 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 really grateful for all of you that I get to sit here and just essentially be nice to you and try and get the information that's in my head out to you. That is literally my job. Show up and just be nice to people and tell them that they're doing a good job and tell them the truth and try and help them. It's insane that that is even a job that exists. I mean, I guess of course it is. That's like being a therapist or a coach, but it still blows my mind that this is how I get to spend my time. And I could not be more grateful for all of you. Thank you for letting me be your mentor, your coach, your friend, whatever you want to call me. Thank you.